Hi, this is Alexis from the Kiteboarder Magazine. I'm here with Gary Siskar. We're at Ride Engine. It is nuking out there, and I'm here with this man. We're talking about wetties today.
We are talking about wetsuits. We're going into winter in the northern hemisphere, so
it is freaking cold up here.
It's starting to get cold, so everyone's going to need a wetsuit. So I'm excited to show you guys our wetsuits. Ride Engine has been known for 2 iterations of the wetsuits now as having some of the best wetsuits on the market. We don't have a tiered wetsuit program. We just make what we call the Apoc and the Alara. The Apoc for men, the Alara for women's. They are best-in-class, high-performance wetsuits using some of the best sustainable materials you can find on this planet, and we're very proud of that because we feel that we want to help you control your climate when you're out riding so you can stay on the water longer, and you need to have a really good wetsuit for that, so we make really good wetsuits. So what are some of the changes that we did in this year's Apoc, and this also carries through into the Alara line also, as they're both top-in-class, best-in-class wetsuits.
As you can see behind us, the split image of Sensei. You can't get any better than that.
Can't get any better than that. But a few changes that we did to the suits to put a little more performance into them, and to change it just to make them a little more convenient and so forth for the user. So number one is we now have what's called the zipper pull or the carrier already on the zipper, rather than having to connect it from the bottom and then zip it up. So when it's really cold outside or you're wearing gloves, it's a lot easier to use overall. It is a heavy duty YKK marine grade zipper. It won't corrode. It doesn't get clogged with a bunch of junk. It'll be operational the entire time. It's not a dainty little zipper. It's a big beefy zipper. The other thing we worked really hard on is, especially both of our suits are called front zip, or front entry suits. Some of the front entry suits out there have a tendency to flush a little bit, especially when us as kiteboarders are body dragging to one side where you have the closure. Sometimes when you're duck diving, as surfers, you'll get a flush, and we wanted to reduce that as much as possible. So we did a lot of research and a lot of development and changed some things that benefit that. Number one is we changed what's called the internal closure or the internal collar, where we brought this dimension up a bit higher. It doesn't impact getting in the suit because we use what's called carbon black, limestone, neoprene. It's one of the highest grades out there that's extremely stretchy. So we were able to bring this dimension up a little bit higher, so if water does come in here, it gets deflected and goes through the flush or the drain holes rather than getting pushed down, into your neck. We also changed the dimension of the closure from the front of the suit. So from the front of the suit to the back of the suit here. So that doesn't impact getting in or out of the suit either, but what it does, it creates a lot smaller hole for water to enter in. So again, body dragging, when you're crashing, when you're duck diving a lot of surf, it's just a lot less chance for water to enter the suit. The other thing we looked at closely was the neck dimension. So we realized that the neck dimension is extremely important because it's an area of water infiltration, and there's a lot of suits out there that they didn't really look or design the neck properly, and we actually brought our neck a little bit shorter, put a glide skin on the inside, and what that does, it creates a really nice tight seal no matter what position your head is in. So especially when you're surfing, you're always kind of head up. When you're duck diving, you duck dive under and your head comes up. There's no pucker in the front that's going to grab water and flush it through the suit. And obviously, cold water flushing through the suit will make you cold, so we wanted to get rid of all of that. The other thing we did in all the suits this year is we eliminated a lot of the seams overall. We use a glued and blind stitch seam with what we call a power seam, so it's a rubber coated, highly stretchable seam overall. But anytime you put a seam on a suit, it does reduce the stretch little by little. So by reducing seams, the suit becomes more flexible. So we reduced about 20% of the seams overall in the suits, and really paid attention to it in our thicker suits, where we took a lot of the torso seams out. So getting in and out of the suit's easier, getting up to your feet when you're surfing is easier, and it's just way more flexible at the end of the day. So it's really nice. Other tiny little details we did. We went to a dot matrix pattern on the inside of the cuff. What that does, rather than having long strips, it keeps the cuff nice and flexible, so easy to get in and out of. And then we heat crimp the very tips of the ankle cuffs and of the arm cuffs. And what that does is when you crash, if you have a square edge right there, it tends to blow up, let water in. This is a little bit more hydrodynamic, so it'll pierce the water and you won't get water coming up into your arm or up into your legs. So specifically Specifically for us wind sport people, we did put drain holes on the calves, so they drain nice and easily. So if you get the balloon leg, we did a lot of research, a lot of testing to get the optimum position of these drain holes. You know, you put them up too high, you still get the balloon. You put them down too low, you get the fold that blocks them off. So we really looked at this kind of scientifically and said, hey, where's the best position? Poking holes in a lot of suits to find the best position to put the drain holes in the suits. Let's look at the inside of the suits. We did some changes in here also. The number one is what we went for our thermal fleece. So we have what's called thermal lock fleece. We moved away from a pile fleece. So the big difference there is pile fleeces are heavier for one. Just the material is heavier, so we wanted to reduce weight. Two, pile fleeces tend to absorb a lot more water. So they are called wet suits. So you're not completely dry all the time. You do get water going in through the neoprene, you know, you do get water coming up through the legs, especially if you're kiteboarding. But what is really nice about this thermal lock fleece is it doesn't absorb as much water, it's just as warm as pile, and it dries a lot faster because there's not as much water and it's a lighter material overall. We also graduated all our thermal fleece throughout our suits. So for example, this is a 543 with a hood, which means you got a fully fleeced hood, full fleece torso, and fully fleeced legs. Once you get to like 4.3s, you know, we'll take the fleece off the back of the legs because you don't need as much warmth overall. You're looking for a suit that you're not going to overheat in a 4.3 condition. And when you're in a 3.2, we actually have just the torso area down to the knees in terms of our fleece. So very, very nice. So that is our full suits overall. We do have a line of warm water suits, or spring suits, I like to call them because I'm a surfer. So we have the Apoc in the men's, and we have the Luna in the women's. So these go down to 2 mil and 1.5 and 1 mil suits. So that changes a bit of way we construct the suits to where you have to use what's called a flat lock stitch, because you can't glue and blind stitch, you know, anything that's under really a 2.5. But we wanted to use nice lightweight warm neoprene in these, the lightest we can, to give you protection, warmth on those chilly dawn patrol mornings or those evenings when it's just blown but it's warm outside. And in the Apoc, construction-wise, same as in the Apoc full suits. With the women's, we changed a little bit of the pattern to make it a little more fashionable with this really cool kind of retro racing stripe thing that carries through the arms. The other thing in these suits, fit-wise, the same deal as in the Apocs. We do everything in the women's from a size 4 up to a size 10. Everything in the men's from a small all the way up to an extra large. Also with having, you know, a medium tall and a large tall in there, so you can get the right fit overall in your wetsuits. And that is it. We're excited about these things. They're warm and toasty.
Where can they find more info on the suits, the sizing, all the tech stuff?
Absolutely. So rideengine.com is always a great place to get some information, or check out your local retailer because they're stocking suits. Go check them out. You can try them on there.
Awesome. Thanks so much.